If you don't know what the goes on in this show by now, I don't even know what to tell you.
Last night I had a dream. I can drown a drink of water and kill a dead tree. Wait till you see Muhammad Ali.
I'm cool with all the gods. Gods recognize gods.
Hanging with the boys.
Welcome, everybody. This is the Interim View podcast. I am your host, Dylan Longman, and we are here with a UFC athlete in the light heavyweight division, and it is a legend in his own right. It is the man smiling Sam Alvey. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful, sir. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. I just wanted to thank you very much for taking the time out of your day and to join us on this podcast.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Wonderful. So, just before I do jump into things, I recently saw your latest post on Instagram, your Manscaped commercial. I gotta say that's probably one of the funniest TikToks I saw, and definitely the best Manscaped commercial. So I hope they definitely take care of you for that because that was awesome.
Oh, I'm not sponsored by them yet. They sent some stuff out to me, and it was funny because I usually people ask me, they'll hit me up on Instagram or, hey, can I send you some stuff and maybe get a, but sure. And this stuff just closed at the door, and I don't remember talking to anyone, but the idea came to me about the video. So, well, they're gonna get something out of it.
All right, I wasn't sure if they sponsored you, but once I had noticed that they had reached out to you and you had the Manscaped products. I assume that they had, and I certainly hope that they do because I think you'd make a great partner with them because that was amazing.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing it. I had 2 or 3 other ones that I might post at some point. I just thought this was my best one.
All right, well, I look forward to seeing them, and I'm sure everyone else who catches wind of that one definitely will as well. So, first off, I just wanted to ask you, as an athlete who has competed during this COVID-19 pandemic earlier in Jacksonville, I just wanted to get your stance on the precautions and the process that you had to go through, opposed to with the fighters going into Fight Island or having to do. Because I'm not sure if you've seen the embedded one or not, but to me it appears to be a little bit different than what you may have experienced.
I haven't seen the embedded, but I've seen some Instagram photos, and it looks like that they're all in hazmat suits. It looks like they've taken it up a notch for Fight Island, and you knew they were going to. They got people coming from around the world. It's an island, but it's still in, where is it, Bermuda?
In Abu Dhabi there.
Yeah, and so that I'm sure they're going to be even if it's not actually doing anything to make it safer, they're going to make it look as safe as possible.
Yeah, definitely, I understand.
Yeah, and when it was out by me, or when I did it in Florida, they went above and beyond what was needed. And it was nice to see them caring so much. We took test after test. They stick the thing up your nose, and they give everyone the N95 mask, and they were very good with everything they did. We all had our own locker room. We all had our own scale. We all had our own sauna. We all had anything we needed. They gave to us.
Amazing. So you just mentioned the sauna, so I'm sure they provided those to sort of help with the weight cut, and they brought it to you. So I've noticed that the fighters on Fight Island at the moment, they have to quarantine for 48 hours after they arrived, and it being so close to the day of the fight, like it being them arriving on the Monday, for example, and then the fight being on Saturday, and them being in the process of cutting weight and trying to stay loose for their performance. Do you think that being in that 48-hour quarantine so close to the fight would potentially have any effects that would take away from having a great performance, I guess?
It wouldn't have any effect on me, but I am probably a little different than most. I'm half quarantined anytime I fight anywhere anyways. I sit and watch Netflix and the Food Network all week. And that's kind of all I do. I would run in the morning. And if I was overweight by a bunch, I'd run at night too. And that was really all I did fight week. So the quarantine and Fight Island wouldn't affect me at all.
Okay.
And I'm sure. It might be quarantine, but I'm sure it's not stay in your room and don't move. They probably have a few rooms for every person.
Definitely. Well, you guys go into a cage and you find ways to get things done. So I imagine a little bit of a quarantine wouldn't stop you guys.
Yeah, definitely wouldn't. We'd figure it out.
Right.
They're probably, if they're stuck in a room, they're probably tearing the bed up and putting the bed against the wall so they can do it in the middle of the room like that.
For sure. I just want to ask one more question related to the COVID-19, and then we'll kind of just leave that in the past, just because
Okay.
I think it's just been so much in the media, I think everybody's kind of looking forward to the times where we can get back to normal. But if I'm not mistaken, you do coach yourself, right?
Yeah, I coach. I run my amateur team, or Dan Henderson's amateur team, and I even coach the pros as well.
Okay. Well, myself, I do jiu-jitsu, but we had just returned to class on Monday, and there is a bunch of new things in place where we have to train with our mask on. We have designated areas on the mats, and I was just curious as a coach, and where you are in the United States opposed to where I am in Canada, like what the new layout of training and whatnot may be like in the current phase that you're in, because we currently don't have contact.
There's absolutely nothing different by us.
Okay.
We're sweating on each other. We're bleeding on each other. We're doing absolutely everything. And it never really stopped for me. Even we were government mandated shut down for a bit, but the pros still found a way to practice. The amateurs still found a way to practice. So it hasn't slowed us down at all.
Okay. I'm glad that it hasn't slowed you down at all. So another thing, in Jacksonville, I don't remember correctly, but was that a smaller cage, the 25-foot, or was that the 30-foot cage when you had fought?
I don't know. It felt fine. Yeah, it was I a pay-per-view? I think mine was a pay-per-view.
That was Tony Ferguson and Justin Gaethje.
Yeah. So if it was, I believe it would have to be the bigger one then. I think they always do that for the pay-per-views.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, just because so many fights taking place at the Apex. I know a lot of people fall in love with the smaller cage, believing that it leads to more action, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I don't know. The smaller cage has always been used just on non-pay-per-view cards.
Oh, really?
So the non-pay-per-view cards are always the smaller cage, and the pay-per-view cards are the bigger cage. So I think people maybe are just realizing it's a smaller cage now, or maybe it's even smaller than what the other small cage was. I guess I'm not sure.
Okay. If you relating to the small cage, do you think that favors a striker more or a wrestler, like somebody who tends to grapple more so, or a striker?
I don't think it matters at all.
It doesn't matter.
No, not 25 foot or 34 foot, whatever the kid. I don't think it matters. If you get a like King of the Cage, they use the cage as like 15 foot or something. Mm-hmm. That helps a grappler. Okay, that's you nowhere to move. But you get past 20 feet, and it really doesn't affect much.
Okay, yeah, I think from the outside, just a fan's perspective, not actually being in there and competing, we tend to have different ideas on how it would play out. But what you're saying, yeah, like a 5 feet difference at this point in like a UFC athlete's career probably doesn't make too much of a difference.
Yeah, not much. You'd be able to cut the ring off a little bit more. Half the guys that train in boxing rings, half the time anyways.
Okay.
They're smaller than the cage, also.
Definitely. So I just want to keep this short and sweet. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I have one more question, and then kind of jump into like a little speed round just to give something different to fans, because me myself as someone who loves watching UFC and like watching yourself and other guys compete, we tend to get a lot of very generic interviews, and we don't always get to find out all the things that we want. So when I come onto your Instagram and I watch Instagram lives and things like that, I get to know you personally. But sometimes the fans who would just watch interviews don't actually get that insight that could potentially bring new fans. You know what I mean? So I just want to ask some fun questions towards the end. But as somebody who does follow you and pays quite close attention to all the moves you're making and all your fights, especially, if I'm not mistaken, I think that you mentioned in one of your Instagram lives that you're going into the last fight on your contract.
Did I say that? I've got at least one fight left on my contract. Then hopefully we get to renegotiate again.
Okay. What made me think of this is Paige Van Zandt going into her most recent fight had mentioned that she wants to test free agency and that this is the last fight on her contract. And she almost seems in a way that she's interested in seeing what's outside the UFC, opposed to where a lot of fighters who are established want to remain in the rankings and stay in the place that they are in the UFC. And for yourself, if it's the last fight on your contract, does it give any added pressure, or does it not change things at all?
It changes nothing for me. I love the UFC. I want to stay with the UFC for the rest of my career. I fought for everyone, and there are some good organizations out in the world, but the UFC is just a step above, and I absolutely love fighting for them. I am on a skid right now. My record is my last 4 fights I've lost them, and I think I've won 2 of them, but the judges, the people who are important, decided I didn't. And so I know how important this next fight is, with a new contract, without a new contract. I know this next fight is the most important fight of my career, and I'm gonna do everything I can to take advantage of it, to really push through and make sure that I win.
Yeah, definitely. It's unfortunate that some of the judges in the sport have as much power as they do, without quite having the experience to. And then, as many MMA fans will know, that there's just some terrible decisions that are made, and it's very night and day, and you can see it's not something that's arguable. And I think in your last fight, even in the first round, if it didn't play out your way, I think you definitely pulled away with that fight, and definitely should have won the decision. And I think other people like who come off losing streaks tend to turn it around to like one big win, such as like Mike Perry. So I don't think that.
This fight is going to be my one big win. This next fight's going to be impressive. It's not just going to be a win; it's going to be an impressive win. I'm going to get back in that knockout territory, and it's going to be epic.
The classic Sam Alvey.
Yes.
But we definitely look forward to that, and I think that'll be great. And someone like yourself, who I think is so well recepted with the fans, I don't think they could afford to lose somebody such as yourself. You know, such a polarizing character in UFC and in MMA in general.
I wouldn't have a job if it wasn't for the fans, so I'm always going to give back every chance I can.
Yeah, and this speaks volume to that, like taking the time out of your day to come speak to me on a podcast like this, where it being the first episode. Like, you're definitely a man of the fans, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to ask you some speed round questions, like some really fun ones real quick, and then we could just end it on that. So you just pretty much one-word answers, and you just go from there.
Okay.
All right. So your favorite movie?
The Greatest Showman.
Your favorite album?
Garth Brooks, Live, double live.
Okay. Favorite cheat meal when out of competition?
Cereal.
Cereal. A specific kind of cereal?
All of it. I love all of it. You just put it in front of me and I'm going to eat it all.
Alrighty. A fictional character you would like to fight?
Fictional character I'd like to fight. Shoot, all the fictional characters I like, I'd get my ass whooped by. The Shredder, maybe? The Shredder always tends to lose, even though he's kind of a badass, so I'm going to take the Shredder.
All right, the Shredder. And while we're on that topic, if you could have a superpower of your choice, what would it be?
A teleportation, but long range, none of that short range stuff. It'd be from here to Canada.
Okay. Yeah, come visit me, just straight to Canada. It's a good place to start.
Yeah, love it.
Beautiful country. The least amount of money you've ever fought for in the UFC, or least amount of money you've ever fought for, not just in the UFC, but in your amateur career, anything.
My pro amateurs never make any money, but my pro career, I've got 2 or 3 fights where I fought for nothing.
Oh, wow. Okay. I believe you're a gamer, so Xbox or PlayStation?
I'm an Xbox fan, but there are a couple games on PlayStation that keep me coming back.
Alrighty. Pineapple.
But I'm a Nintendo Switch guy more than anything.
Oh, see, I didn't even include them in the conversation. I should have just said console or platform of your choice.
The Switch all day.
Pineapple on pizza type of guy? Yes or no?
I love it. Everyone should love it. It's just delicious.
It's different, and I definitely like it once in a while. But okay. This is a fun one. A conspiracy you believe in.
I'm not a conspiracy guy, but this COVID garbage has got me. There's got to be a reason behind something that's only about as deadly as a bad flu, and we shut down the world for it. So this is. I don't want to say I believe anything yet, but I'm kind of willing to believe something.
On the fence, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Alrighty, and I'll just end it with this one. Who would you like to fight next?
Give me the easiest guy in the roster. Give me the guy who's clumsy, who doesn't know how to throw a punch. Give me a last minute fill-in. Give me the easiest guy you got.
All right. Well, again, I want to thank you for your time, Sam. Me personally, I look forward to your fight. I know everyone that I speak to and everyone that follows this podcast is definitely a fan of yourself. So we're going to get this live. And again, thank you for joining us. You are welcome back anytime. We're going to tune in. I'll post all your links, and I'll make sure that everyone can get to your Instagram, your Twitter, all that. And hopefully we see you again.
Perfect. That sounds great. Thank you so
Wonderful.
much.
Thank you so much, Sam. Take care.
All right. Take
Cheers.
care.
Best of luck.
Thanks.
Is he fucking awesome? Those are the kind of things that make that kid a fucking superstar.
Get out of here.
The interim titles will never mean the same as a proper title. So.
If you guys want to go back and be a fucking bartender, a short order cook, a fucking scientist, if that's what you really want to be, then go for it. It's not all signing autographs and banging broads when you get out of here. It's not.